taking profits in the NFT space. It's not so much a controversial topic as it would be in the crypto space, but it's something that I believe everyone from beginners to experienced guys actually have trouble with. The reason I think people have trouble taking profits comes down to a greed and FOMO. When you're in the crypto space, there is this big emphasis on diamond hands, don't sell whole, write it up. What I believe happens in the NFT space is there is a big flip mentality. So you can get into a project, write it up, and then flip it out. But because that is the norm when it comes down to a project, and because liquidity is a little bit harder, and liquidity just means the ability to sell, the fact that with an NFT, people do exit the project. They take that quick flip. They then see it run up another 100% or 200%. Then in the back of their mind, the next project, they're like, I'm going to hold on a little bit more. I'm going to run it up. Compound that with being inside of a really frothy, crazy Discord when it comes down to people going 1/8 floor, 10/8 floor, going to the moon. You start to kind of build a bit of a rah-rah with everyone else, and then you're almost seeing green, not seeing red, with what's going to happen. You then imagine yourself sitting on a 35 ETH Bored Ape type floor. You're then imagining life-changing money when it comes down to these projects. And then this is what happens. There is this big run-up, then there's a pullback, and then there is almost like a chasing of that potential, that unrealized profit, essentially. So when it comes down to profit taking, what I believe you should employ is a plan and a strategy. Now, I try my hardest to fulfill my plan and strategy, but a lot of the times I don't, and that is something that I'm working on. What it is entering into a project and understanding that at 100 or 150%, layer out and sell one of the NFTs. Or if you're just all in on that NFT and you only have like one of them, when you get to that 200 or 300%, so 2 or 3x, then exiting the project. No one ever went broke taking profits. When it comes down to taking profits, if you have a rule and a structure when it comes down to it, you're more likely to follow those rules and you're less likely to make a decision that you will regret later on. If you're buying in at a project at 0.05 and there's sort of 0.02 gas, so let's round it up to 0.07, and it gets to 0.15, it's not bad to take that profit and take that quick flip and then pocket that money. Even if it runs up to 1 ETH, sure, you'll be kicking yourself at the gains that you could have made, but lots of projects will kind of run up and then pull back. The biggest regrets I have made aren't the purchases that I've bought in and that have gone down. The biggest regrets that I've made are projects that I've bought into and they've run up to a 20 or 30x and I didn't take a profit. I'm still sitting in profit territory. I've still made a 5 or 6x, but after that 30, you realize that I could have had a lot more. And then you start to kind of negotiate with yourself about the decisions that you're making. So what I think you should do is have a look at your plan. Break down what an average project will cost, which is around that sort of 0.08 to 0.1, and then go, what happens if I take 0.01 and I can get it to a 0.2? If you can if you compound this and you double it every single week, you're then going to end up with a lot of money at the end of a cycle. You'll then be able to kind of deploy that capital and make really smart moves and have something to actually kind of flip and work with, because that 0.1 turns into 0.2, 0.2 to 0.4, 0.4 to 0.8. Next thing you know, you got 1.5 ETH, 3, and it can move that fast. But if you're trying to deploy a 0.1 ETH to try to get a 5 ETH, it's going to be very hard, and then you're going to be looking for that moonshot. Now you will find that moonshot, but if you're not taking those profits along the way, it's not giving you a chance. The one thing about the NFT space as opposed to the crypto space is the NFT space, you've got these crazy huge moonshots, these things where you can get those 100x gains if you get onto the whitelist or you find this absolutely insane project. It's very hard to find those in crypto because they don't happen very fast. They happen over month-long periods, year-long periods. Whereas in the NFT space, stuff is moving fast, stuff is moving crazy quick. So it means that you can actually enter and exit a project and be up sort of 5 or 6 times your money within 2 or 3 days, which is crazy. And the idea of taking these smaller profits when you have this plan means that you can then deploy the capital and hope that you get those moonshots. Because what I believe will happen is if you enter a project at point 1, you then intend to sell at point 2 and kind of make your clean 1x, what you'll then do is you'll wake up or you'll check the price and it'll be at 0.25 or 0.3. So you would have made a crazy amount of money. You can then set a sell order for a little bit higher because it's running up, or you can just stay glued to the screen to actually kind of put in that entry when it drops back down. But this is where you'll start to make those gains. You don't have to buy in at point 1 and set a sell order at point 2. It's fine to let it run up, but having that plan in place and that discipline to execute that plan will ensure that you will make some money. Now look, what I will say is that I'm a heavy believer when it comes down to NFTs. I also know deep down that there is an emotional aspect when it comes down to these projects. Some projects you look at and you just want to be a part of because there is a community, there is a vibe, there is an artwork that does hit those emotional sort of heartstrings, they hit those emotional points in you. When it comes down to a coin in the cryptocurrency space, it's hard to build an emotional attachment to something that you can't really see. It's easy to do that when it comes down to pictures and a community, but trying to disassociate yourself with that in some way, shape, or form to actually execute on taking profits will be healthy for you in the long term. All I want for you in this NFT space, I don't care how much you go up or down, as long as you leave the NFT space better than you entered it, with a better understanding about what NFTs are, but then also with a little extra change in your pocket. That's all I care about. It doesn't matter how rich you get, as long as you're walking away with some money from this space, that's all I personally care about. So I know it's a different kind of video. I want to do a few more of these where I'm just kind of talking through my thoughts and my process, just to kind of give you an idea of how I see the space. And what I hope is that there's 1 or 2 points that kind of hit that mean that you can then take away and execute those in your NFT trading career. Anyway, it's been a pleasure having you with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.
All night we run them numbers on a fitness side. This a cricket match, couple day affair with your wife. You think she leaving with my hoodie? Told her give it back. Stop off at the hometown, looking like I'm still the man. I see some epitomes of what it's like to finish last. I wonder what it's like to drop and ain't feeling that. Been through a lot, but I ain't never had